Chapter 20. Pinocchio starts back to the fairy's house. Liberated from prison, he starts to return to the fairy's house, but on the road he meets with a horrible serpent, and afterwards he is caught in a trap. You can imagine Pinocchio's joy when he finds himself free. Without stopping to take breath, he immediately leaves the town and takes the road that leads to the fairy's house. On account of the rainy weather, the road has become a marsh into which he sinks knee-deep, but the puppet would not give in. Tormented by the desire of seeing his father and his little sister with blue hair again, he runs on like a greyhound, and as he runs he is splashed with mud from head to foot, and he says to himself as he goes along, "How many misfortunes have happened to me, but I deserve them, for I am an obstinate, passionate puppet. I am always bent upon having my own way, without listening to those who wish me well, and who have 1,000 times more sense than I have. But from this time forth I am determined to change and to become orderly and obedient. For at last I have seen that disobedient boys come to no good and gain nothing. And has my papa waited for me? Shall I find him at the fairy's house? Poor man! It is so long since I last saw him. I am dying to embrace him and to cover him with kisses. And will the fairy forgive me my bad conduct to her? To think of all the kindness and loving care I received from her, to think that I am now alive, I owe it to her. Would it be possible to find a more ungrateful boy, or one with less heart than I have?" Breath, neshima, on account of, בגלל, a marsh, זה ביצה, to sink, זה לשקוע, a puppet, זה בובה, to give in, זה להיכנע, to owe, זה להיות חייב, ungrateful, זה כפוי טובה, passionate, זה נלהב, לוהט, to be bent upon, זה להתכופף, to torment, זה לייסר, להתייסר, greyhound, זה זרזיר, כלב ציד, greyhound זה סוג של כלב ציד, נקרא בעברית זרזיר מותנן, to splash, להתיז, obstinate זה עקשן, fourth זה עלה, orderly זה מסודר, obedient זה צייתן, to gain זה להשיג, to embrace זה לחבק, conduct זה התנהגות. Whilst he is saying this, he stops suddenly, frightened to death, and makes 4 steps backwards. What does he see? He sees an immense serpent stretched across the road. Its skin is green, it has red eyes and a pointed tail that is smoking like a chimney. It would be impossible to imagine the puppet's terror. He walks away to a safe distance and, sitting down on a heap of stones, waits until the serpent should have gone about its business and left the road clear. He waits an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, but the serpent is always there, and even from a distance he could see the red light of his fiery eyes, and the column of smoke that ascends from the end of his tail. At last Pinocchio, trying to feel courageous, approaches it to within a few steps and says to the serpent in a little soft, insinuating voice, "Excuse me, Sir Serpent, but would you be so good as to move a little to one side, just enough to allow me to pass?" He might as well have spoken to the wall. Nobody moves. Whilst, בעוד backwards, אחורה, serpent זה נחש, to stretch זה להימתח, to smoke זה להעלות עשן, לקטר, chimney זה ערובה, a heap זה ערימה, fiery זה לוהט, to ascend זה לעלות, to insinuate זה לרמוס, courageous זה אמיץ, to approach זה להתקרב, a voice זה קול, a puppet זה בובה. He begins again in the same soft voice. "You must know, Sir Serpent, that I am on my way home, where my father is waiting for me, and it is such a long time since I saw him at last. Will you therefore allow me to continue my road?" He waits for a sign in answer to this request, but there is none. In fact, the serpent, who up to that moment had been sprightly and full of life, becomes motionless and almost rigid. He shuts his eyes and his tail ceases to smoking. "Can he really be dead?" says Pinocchio, rubbing his hands with delight. He determines to jump over him and reach the other side of the road. But just as he is going to leap, the serpent raises himself suddenly on end, like a spring set in motion, and the puppet, drawing back in his terror, catches his feet and falls to the ground. And he falls so awkwardly that his head sticks in the mud and his legs go into the air. Sprightly, זעיר, תוסס, a request, זה בקשה, motionless, זה ללא תנועה, rigid, זה נוקשה, to cease, זה לחדול, to rub, זה לשפשף, delight, זה תענוג, to leap, זה לקפוץ, a spring, זה קפיץ, to draw back, זה לסגת, לאחור, mud, זה בוץ, to stick, זה לתקוע, להישאר, to continue, זה להמשיך, terror, זה אימה, פחד, on end, זה על קצה. At the sight of the puppet kicking violently with his head in the mud, the serpent goes into convulsions of laughter and laughs until he breaks a blood vessel in his chest and dies. And that time he is really dead. Pinocchio then sets off running in hopes that he should reach the fairy's house before dark. But before long he begins to suffer so dreadfully from hunger that he cannot bear it, and he jumps into a field by the wayside, intending to pick some bunches of muscatel grapes. Oh, that he had never done it! He scarcely reaches the vines when crack! His legs are caught between two cutting iron bars, and he becomes so giddy with pain that stars of every color dance before his eyes. The poor puppet is taken in a trap, put there to capture some big polecats, which are the scourge of the poultry yards in the neighborhood. New words: convulsion, the percus, blood vessel, the clay down, chest, the חזה, wayside, the צד הדרך, a bunch of grapes, the שקול ענבים, crack, the קול חד פעמי, giddy, the סחרחר, vessel, the כלי, a trap, the מלכודת, to capture, the ללכוד, polecat, the חולדה, or בואש, scourge, the פורענות, poultry yard, the חצר עופות, the sight, זה מראה, to set off, זה לצאת לדרך, bar, זה פס, iron bar, זה פס ברזל, dreadful, זה נורא. End of chapter 20.